Hello and welcome to our today's session. We'll see software testing life cycle using AI. So before we proceed, first we'll understand what is the software testing life cycle. Okay, so STLC is a structured process followed by a QA teams to ensure the software quality. Okay, while the phases remain the same, okay, because of AI has significantly changed how we execute each phase. Okay, so remember, AI helps them work faster, smarter, and with better coverage. Now, if you see traditional software testing life cycle, okay, first requirement analysis, then test planning, test kit design, test environment setup, test execution, defect reporting, and test closure. So, as part of today's session, we'll cover first three phases, that is the requirement analysis, test planning, test case design, and how AI is using in STLC. So first we'll start with the requirement analysis. Okay, now if you see traditional approach, okay, so traditional approach nothing but the if in case we are not using the AI, okay, so QA receives the BRD, okay, business requirement documentation or the user stories, and as a QA, we are reading the requirements, we are identifying the test scenarios, finding the ambiguities, okay, we are raising the questions, okay, and for any complicated user stories, okay, time required 2 to 3 days. Okay, but if in case we are using any AI, okay, so AI reads the business requirement documentation, user stories, acceptance criteria, API documentation. Okay, and AI can automatically generate the test scenarios, highlight the missing requirements, detect the contradictory requirements, and suggest the edge cases. Okay, so for example, here I have mentioned like our requirement is like user can reset the password using registered email. Okay. So as a QA, okay, so we'll consider like if we're considering the traditional approach without AI, then we are just thinking about the valid email, invalid email, email not registered. But if in case we are using the AI, okay, so AI suggests the additional scenarios like email already expired, okay, SQL ingestion, multiple reset request, email containing the Unicode character. And as a result, okay, so instead of 10 scenarios, AI suggests the 40 plus scenarios within a second. Okay, so this is the way we can use the AI in requirement analysis. Okay, so how we can give the prompt? So in my earlier session, I already mentioned how we can give the correct prompt. Okay, so that will get the correct result. Then next, we'll see how we can use the AI in test planning. Okay, now we'll see first traditional approach. Okay, so here in traditional approach, manager decide the resources, timeline, risk, automation scope. Okay, but if we are using the AI, okay, so AI analyze the previous sprint defects, team velocity, risk area, and the model complexity. Okay, and AI predicts high risk model. Okay, estimated testing efforts, regression scope, and automation candidate. Okay, now if you see, it changed the little bit pattern. Okay, but the the stages remains same. Okay, but the speed or the verification speed or the execution speed is gradually increased. Okay, so here I have given the one example like previous releases. Okay, so we found for payment model 120 bucks, orders model 12 bucks, and profile 5 bucks. Okay, so instead of executing the entire things, okay, AI recommends focus 70% testing efforts on the payments model. Okay, this is a risk-based testing using AI. AI suggested. Then next, test case design. Okay, so here also we can use the AI. Okay, so here we can use the cursor or we can use the chat GPT or copilot. Okay, like as I mentioned earlier videos, how we can give the correct prompt. Okay, so if in case you have not seen my earlier video, please visit my earlier videos. So how we can use the test case design using AI. So if in case we are not using the AI, the traditional approach is like tester manually write the things, precondition, steps, expected result, actual result. Okay, which is a time consuming. It is taking more times. Okay, but using AI, okay, AI assistant will just fetch the story. Okay, and AI generate the functional cases, regression cases, boundary cases, accessibility test. Okay, so all these cases AI is getting generated. Then, as a QA, we need to review it and we need to add it into our test case management tool. Okay, here I gave the example. Okay, so for login page, traditional QA will write the 20 cases. Okay, whereas AI It is suggesting the 65 cases, including the all the things like keyword accessibility, browser accessibility, escalation, XXX, okay, API validation, session timeout. Okay, so now we'll see how the difference between the traditional QA and the AI-driven QA. Okay, so in requirement analysis, okay, so traditional QA is a manual review process. Okay, so whereas if we are using the AI, then AI find the gaps and suggest the scenarios. Within test planning, okay, so usually test planning is done by the manager or the experience-based QA or the leader. Okay, so AI predict the risk and the efforts. Okay, and test kit design, okay, it's a manual creation process where AI generate the comprehensive test cases. Now we'll see which tool we can use. So in requirement analysis, usually we'll go ahead with the ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. Okay. So for test planning phase, we'll go ahead with the Jira AI. Okay, that is the row we can use it, or also DevOps AI. Okay. So for test kit design, we'll go ahead with the ChatGPT or Cursor AI. Okay, or the GitHub Copilot. Okay. So that's what in STLC today agenda we call requirement analysis, test planning, test kit design. In next session, we'll see the other phases like test environment, test execution, test closure. Okay. So if in case you have any questions, queries, please let me know. Thank you.